I cooked. I just got. I be trying to cook dinner on
You
time
are
and
live.
schedule.
You are live. So
I
live,
want
live here. Uh,
Maybe they shouldn't be taking people on live so you can cook dinner.
I said that.
Megan,
Okay,
Megan
guys.
Skylar is
Again,
not cooking.
if you can share,
Who
Meanwhile,
the
sitting here
up,
eating
bro?
my egg and
Who's,
bread.
why do we don't share the artist responsible for our song? It is.
hmm,
Eh,
hello, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to our faithful guests, our subscribers, our followers on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to another great show. Today is January 7th. And sorry for being late. We normally start here at 7:30, but a little bit of technical difficulties. But welcome to another great show. Tonight' topic is generational perspectives on work, family, and life. And we have a great panelist here that's going to be educating us, sharing their views, sharing whatever it is, that they have on this topic. So again, welcome. I'm your host, as usual, Abe Kamara, and we're going around the room and introduce our guest, Patience.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's been a minute. We're back to our regular schedule. I'm excited to learn and share my experience.
Titus, unmute, unmute.
Hey guys, so I'm excited to be back as well. Had a much needed break, and I miss you guys. Let's do it. Let's talk.
Miss B.
Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss B. How you guys are doing? Welcome this night. It's about to be off, and lit.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you to our great panelists. So again, tonight's topic is generational perspectives on work, family, and life. And so if you want to contribute to this topic tonight, you can put a comment in the chat, or you can call our number 817-600-1525. And so please participate. You can call the number, as I said, 817-600-1525. Patient, I will start with you. How do you think like first generation African immigrants will approach career opportunities, compared to like, folks who are just coming here?
Hmm. When you
It's
say
all over
first
the place.
generation, what do you
No,
mean?
so the last time, like last one we're talking, right? So Ms. B was saying before the Bujumbura camp, before the Bujumbura crowd, it's like the Bujumbura people came here and maybe mix everything up, and some of us who just come in here, maybe we might mix it up a little bit. So like old folks, like I came here first, right? Like
Mhm.
immigrants that came here first versus those that that just coming, right? How do they like approach work, right? Is like compared to folks who've been here like for a long time.
Well, I mean, now, for those who came here first, I will speak on the educational aspect of it. People wasn't really much into education. A lot of people that came here back then, they came and just went straight into the nursing home and not do any form of research to see if there's other career path or other jobs that they could do. But people that are coming here now in the current days, that we have a lot more resources that we can use, and we have people who have the experiences that's basically showing us the path to go and letting us know that there's more to just going into the nursing home. This is what you need to do to get a career or start a professional job instead of just settling for the basic.
Okay, but how do you just assume, like, I mean, first generation of folks that just came here back in the day, they just went straight in the nursing home? Why do you just assume that?
It was either nursing home or factory. That was it. If you talk to anybody that came here
Mhm.
back in the days, those were the options. That's all they knew. It was either they're in the nursing home, group home, or doing the factory job.
It said that they didn't make any effort to explore or look at anything else, or like that was, I mean, that was the only choice available to them, so they just went into that.
I won't say they didn't explore. I would say they didn't have the knowledge, and there wasn't people here like showing them the path or giving them the resources that they needed to want more for themselves. That was what that was offered to them, and they just accepted it because they didn't
Okay.
have any other support outside of that, I would say.
Okay, Titus, how do you think like different generations of Africans that have immigrated here, define like, I mean, define career success?
So I have a bit of a contrasting view to what Pigeons express,
Okay.
and I think us Africans now entering flogging into this home health
Yeah.
uh, field. I don't want to think that it's from the older generation, because a lot of our folks, our ancestors, our parents and grandparents, who
Hmm.
were opportune to come to the States or even other parts of Europe,
Hmm.
did a lot of other, they got involved with a lot of other opportunities. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of working in the shops, the garages, somewhere just businessmen, merchants.
Okay.
And when you speak of Liberia, most of the guys that we revere so much now,
Hmm.
most of the guys from back then, they didn't even want to stay in America. They didn't really have, at least from my experience, right? And the encounter that I've had,
Okay.
most of our older folks wanted to come, get their goods, go back, get their education, and go back to make an impact on the continent,
Hmm.
compared to us now, this generation, and probably um, the ones to come will want to come here, stabilize here, integrate more into the community here and the society here. And even though we might have desire to return, I
Yeah.
think the majority of our generation find ourselves, for lack of a better word, trapped
Okay.
in America compared to the older generation. However, howbeit, I
Sure.
think both generations or these several generations have a lot to offer, when it comes to the workplace and just integrating into society.
Okay. So are you saying then, like, back in the days where folks just came here for education and go back to the motherland or wherever they came from and go back and contribute, like they didn't want to stay at all?
From what I know and my encounter, and with these guys, these older guys,
Hmm.
most of them compared to our generation were focused on using the opportunity, the traveling opportunity, to equip themselves and return home,
Okay.
compared to our generation.
Okay. Well, Miss B, as a employer, what do you think younger generation prioritize in the workplace, right, compared to like older generations, especially as it relates to maybe like African immigrants?
So the age group we're talking about would be, let's just say, from age 18 to 34. right? That group came early 80s, late night to late 90s. That's our parents, my parents. Talking people born 1955, between 1955 and 1965, right? And so even prior to the war, like you had some people like Titus said that would just come here, get an education, and go back home. And
Okay.
then even post-war, you know, you had some of those people who just long for being back home, who just got a job that was going to allow them to work, save up money, and go back. Because you can live well with a little in Liberia. Now the field of choice, I'm sure, probably was due to the 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 ecosystem here in this country. Is like, if you don't have a degree, there are certain jobs you're going to enter in. They're going to be more high labor intense jobs, lower income jobs. Unfortunately, if you don't have a degree, that's just the mechanism of this country, period. And then if you
Okay.
have a degree, you'll probably land in more of the professional services type, office type jobs. And what you're finding, like I said last time, is a lot of our folks that came here with degrees were either, you know, pushed out of their industry because of you're overqualified. And then and when somebody says you're overqualified, you're probably too old, they don't want to hire you, or the level between the level of age and the level of experience and degree that you have, they don't want to pay you. And so you're going to be a high cost for them on their payroll. And so they'll use all kind of excuses not to be able to hire you. And then some of it is just, okay, why am I going to hire this African immigrant when I can give this job to an American? So you're dealing with all of the dynamics. Nursing was easy. Becoming a CNA was easy. You're talking a 30-day course
Okay.
to get certified as a certified nursing assistant. 30-day course, and you would walk out of there the next day, you have a job, and you're, you know, making decent wages, and you have the ability to do overtime. And so you find a lot of our folks got into that field of work. And even now with the folks that are 2000 and later that will come, will move into that field of work for the same dynamics. It's easy to get a nursing degree. It's easy to get a job, and you're going to get paid pretty decent wages that you can live off of.
Okay. Sam, so like, do you agree with Ms. B? Like, folks that come from like African immigrants come here, right? Like, it's easier to enter the nursing field or the healthcare field because you know you don't need formal education. You just need maybe 30 days training and get into that. Do you agree with that assessment? Or like, come here, especially like if you come here maybe with a degree from Africa, is there ideal opportunities for you to like enter? Explore other career fields?
Yeah, I like to say I agree with everyone who spoke, not limit my agreement to Ms. B alone.
Sure.
But let me greet you guys, man, because my internet was tripping. Hope you guys
Or
doing good.
is it a Lone Star internet? Is it a Lone Star
Boost
internet?
Mobile. I got Cellcom.
Okay.
I got Cellcom. But
Okay,
yeah, Happy
okay.
New Year, folks, and to you guys watching.
Welcome, Sam.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year, brother.
Thanks, bro. So I agree with with the pieces that you guys shared. And man, some of the times that people start to do other careers or get into certain fields too because monkey see, monkey do. That's a very important thing. Monkey see, monkey do. Um, when I was in Liberia, I almost became a pastor because I watched my dad preach. And so that's what I saw, and that's kind of what I wanted to. That's who I wanted to be.
Hmm.
And then when I came here and started to see all the opportunities, right? And I said, "Oh, I could do this. I could do that." You know what I mean? And so when I came here too, before I started to explore other things, I watched people do certain things, and I really thought that's something I could do. But then the more you become uh, and I'm agreeing with Ms. B and also Patience too, and I will touch on Titus too. But um,
Okay.
when you watch people do certain things, then you see that, and sometimes if it's easier path to follow, you most likely will follow that path, right? Um, and a lot of people do that for those reasons. Titus, you said something, man. Maybe just give me 30 more seconds here. Back then, man, you're right. People used to come here, just educate themselves and go back. But I think, and this is not research based, but I think they did those things because they didn't see this place as home. They didn't see it as a place they could thrive. Because my man, you
So,
just learn you got your little master's degree or your bachelor's degree. but you can't find yourself fitting in this environment. We're talking about 1960. Even in 2024, there are still struggles, right? But you're talking about 1960, 1965. You know what I mean? Who's going to just hire you like that? Who's going to say you're going to be a head of a church or you're going to be head of this place, this entity, that? People were
But
struggling. Things were different here. So
if you
people,
say okay, if you say that folks are coming now and see like market, I mean, what market do? I mean, back in the days when they're like, I mean, seeing opportunities maybe in healthcare and in other fields, like I mean, they could easily go into.
but those people who were coming back then, right? Those
Mhm.
people were trailblazers, right? But they were not finding security here. It was just about 10 years ago that a lot of Liberians started buying homes here, started having that mindset that they can make this place a home.
Mm.
So then people started investing, because a lot of people who were coming back then were just doing their thing here, get an education here, work here, invest in Liberia. Everybody. But now we are buying homes here a lot now because we are thinking that we can stay in this country, we can make this place our home. We are feeling as though we can be part of this great America now. But it never used to be like that. The mindset was different. And that's why I thought those people were running back there after the school here. And some other people were still settling here though, but people were running back here. And then
Maybe,
for people who started getting into other careers here, they started getting into certain careers because it was easier. Like Miss B said, you can do your CNA thing and you make good money. You can work 2-3 jobs and make good money. A lot of people who are coming,
but
how we came. Some people came from Bujumbura camp. Some people came from this place, that place. They were not formally educated, some of them. And so it was more of an easy route.
if you push
Okay.
our concept a little bit, and then maybe I will pose it to pitch. If you push our concept a little bit, though, are you saying like Liberian immigrants that are unique in a sense that I mean they never thought that they could have a life here, have a family here, versus like maybe Ghanaians and Nigerians come here, you say, hey, I'm going to America, I'm going to live a life there, right? It's like, have a family, you're on mute patient if you're talking. Oh, okay, okay. Miss B, I'll go to you then.
Well, I know as far as the number of folks that are in the healthcare field
Mhm, mhm.
is a larger number of African Liberian immigrants, other African immigrants that are in that field, but there is a larger number of Liberians. I think sometimes it's like back to what Sam was saying, it is a little bit of what is the cultural norm of field of work from your country too, and then you come here and see what can I easily get into. Liberia, a lot of folks do nursing, to be honest, both in Liberia and here they do nursing. There's a larger
In
population of
Liberia,
us.
a lot of folks do nursing. Really?
They're doing nursing. They're doing nursing. I don't know to the level of practicing and skills, and I can't judge all that.
Mm.
But we graduate a lot of nurses in Liberia. I would say more so than we do maybe lawyers, right? When you think about the field of graduations and things people are graduating for, because again, the nursing program is an easy program. And when I say easy program, I'm not talking even bachelor's level folks. I just want to give some perspective. I'm talking CNA, because when I say a lot of us are in that field, we're predominantly sitting in CNA, and that's just the reality, right? And to
But
cover
CNN
the
is a
number,
low. I mean, but CNN, why is it that? Why is it like? I mean, I know you say it's easy, but CNN is a very low paying job. Why do Liberians? Because it's easy. Is that the reason why Liberians find it attractive to go into it, even though it's a very very. I mean, it's a low paying job.
But
it's a
Sometimes
low,
AB,
below,
it's
sometimes below
not.
yeah,
minimum wage.
No, 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 no.
it's what you
That's
would
not
call
true.
technical or vocational level teaching here in America, CNA, right? Because the reality is, if you're going to become a nurse with your bachelor's, a part of your curriculum is a CNA class and most of them who are in bachelor's degree probably never even work in a CNA in that level of nursing as a CNA, but it's a required class in order to move to the next level. And maybe some people decided, I'm going to start here and then move to the next level when I can.
Sammy said that's not true. I mean, so what's the starting wage, right? Like an entry position for a CNA, what's the starting wage? So that's not true. That's a minimum wage job.
It will surprise you
Go ahead.
that some CNAs make more money than some bachelor degree holders.
Maybe with the experience, though. I mean, I know
No.
with the experience,
Depending on what kind of bachelor's degree.
entry level.
Yeah, I'm
So
telling you.
No,
But
no,
Sam, you gotta
Yeah, yeah,
no,
gotta
no,
give
no,
context.
no, no.
Here's the thing.
Where, which
And
facility
the
is
time we're
hiring entry
talking
level?
about, it is
Yeah.
just
Which,
post-COVID. Let's be honest. It's just
Let's
post-COVID
look
they're
at
making
now.
more.
Let's look at
Yeah,
now,
it's
right?
just post-COVID. But prior to
I have some
okay,
friends who are
one at a time,
CNAs.
one at a time, one at a time.
I have some friends who are CNAs, right? And I know of one particular one who makes about $26 an hour at the hospital.
Entry level. We're
Yes.
talking about
What
entry
do you call
level.
entry level?
no, it's not entry level.
It
That's
depends
not
on the
entry level.
experience, though, or how long
Entry
that
level
person has
is
been
less.
there too.
And that's what I'm trying to point to him. It's
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, but you
yeah.
mentioned
it's on the
that.
experience, someone who's just coming from maybe Africa, like Liberia, but trying to be, there's like going to CNA with Miss B said 30-day training. Are they going to get a land of $26 or $20 or even $18
Yeah.
an
Somebody.
hour?
Yeah. Somebody.
Wait, let me inform it.
Yeah.
So somebody who
Go
just
ahead,
came,
Marcus.
somebody who just came and applied at a hospital for a CNA level job. What experience do you think they're going to present to the hospital? You think it's an
No.
entry level experience?
Yeah,
But that's what he's saying. But that's what Abe is
Exactly,
saying, Titus.
Yeah,
He's
no,
saying
what
they
did
won't.
Well, the point Sam is making is that these jobs, that the CNA jobs that you're talking about now, predominantly is paying more compared to 10 years ago. They're paying more. They're paying
But
over
that
20.
more than someone who has a bachelor's degree, though.
And,
No,
And yes, why I
and a
said that,
bachelor
right?
degree holder, depending on what field you've been working in, would probably not be making far from that amount. And a CNA,
and that's why you have to put in the experience.
Yeah,
part.
that's what we're talking
especially
about.
if you're not,
If you have somebody who's been working
especially
CNA
if
for
you're not
15 years,
applying yourself
one at a
and
time.
just relying on the bachelor's, you're not applying your skill set. You're not equipping yourself with with other technical know-how. You could most likely be making closer or even less than that CNA.
A case manager in Minnesota, a case manager not working with the state, any case manager in the state of Minnesota, right, was not working with the state or not working with the city, not city but the county, right, private entity, you're not making more than $25 an hour as a case manager. You're not. And the requirements for case manager in the state have a bachelor's degree, either in sociology or psychology or something related.
We're talking about entry level. We're talking about entry level.
I mean, you can have 10 years experience. You're not going to
This is
cap.
the average.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've been around. When I tell you things, we've been around.
You're not going to make $25.
I'm telling you, I worked as a case manager before.
Okay.
So
let's
all
progress.
of these
Wait.
things, all of these things have different contexts, and people need to
exactly.
state
Yeah.
context to support what you're
the reason why I'm bringing this up because AB is saying that CNA pays.
It's a minimum level. It's a minimum wage job. To make 20.
AB was saying that.
A minimum wage job
it's not a minimum wage job. Don't you say that? It's not.
Okay. Anyway, welcome.
Minimum wage job. It's not a minimum wage job.
It's not a minimum wage. Fast food is a minimum wage. Not
let's check that and put the rest of the the topic on that.
Minimum wage in this country is why in Minnesota it's $11, right?
No, it is. He's not far from the truth. It is. The minimum wage just starting this year is $15.
PCA.
The average salary for
are the ones who make.
No. The average salary for a CNA in Minnesota is $37,000 a year, maybe at 45. 45.
What is that per hour?
It's 45.
What is that per hour?
$37,000 to $45,000. If you're making $37,000 a year, you're making minimum wage. You're talking $15 an hour.
CNAs are not making $15 an hour on average. They're making more.
That's what it says in the state of Minnesota.
No. Don't look at that crap.
I'll encourage them and Titus to go and do that research, right?
No. I'm not going to go read anything. I know people who are working at CNAs.
Those are what we call isolated. Those are isolated situations, Sam.
Exactly.
We are bringing you reality.
It's really more than 50%.
No, that's
okay. When we look at the majority or a large population size of people of CNA field, they're not going to be making that. And I would say prior to
in Minnesota,
COVID,
yes.
In
In
Minnesota,
Minnesota, yes.
and Minnesota is one of the
Everywhere.
highest paying states when it comes to
Yeah,
nursing.
for
Because you
CNAs.
go down south, Georgia, they're still making $8-10 an hour. Yes, as a CNA. $10 an hour as a CNA. So Minnesota is
I
one
mean,
of the
even in
higher paying
Philadelphia,
states
even
when
you
it
go to
comes to
Philadelphia,
nursing.
places like that.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
minimum
a
wage job.
insult right there.
Is what?
It's an
All right,
insult to
hold
make
on,
it an hour.
No. Hold on. I
Sam,
look
we're
it
gonna
up.
move on.
I
Sam, we're
look it
gonna
up.
move on.
No. Miss B says she looked things up, right? I look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'm looking it up right now on my screen, right?
No,
Where is
but
Okay.
we don't want to take the show, right, to come do research here, right? So
No,
we're gonna
I
move
already
on.
have the data. I have
We're
the
gonna
data.
move on. We're
I
gonna
have the
move on from
data,
that.
and
You
I
guys
would say
look it up.
Well,
the
Doesn't
top
make
earners,
for better
the top earners in Minnesota make $54,000, which is $26 per hour. And when we come to the average, right? The average make $20 an hour. So
it also
it's
says
still with what I'm saying. That's not
13.
minimum wage.
Share all the data. It says average hourly wage is 20. Estimated minimum hourly wage is 13. Estimated maximum hourly wage is
So you
$22.
had it thing up long time. If you let
But
movement,
yeah, exactly.
bottom
It is a
line is
minimum wage
that it's
job.
not
I
a
don't know
minimum
where you're
wage
trying to
job.
argue. I don't know where you're trying to pinpoint data here and there. And
It
things like
is
that.
a
It's
minimum wage job. When we just raised the minimum wage in this
Y'all
state.
need a boy. It's not a minimum. Saying no, why you sitting
It's
here?
not a
God?
minimum
It's
wage.
not a minimum
I
wage
think
job. Yeah,
I
let's
think
You know what?
move on. Please,
so
begin.
if
Trying to
it's
define.
he's misplacing
No, we
that
know
job.
people
He's misplacing it.
who are doing a
But
job and they're
let's
doing good.
follow.
It's not a minimum
Yeah. I
wage
mean,
job.
let's move on. But even
Thank
at this
you.
rate, right?
Thank you,
Even
William
at 20,
Williams.
even
Can
at
you give
20,
some
Exactly.
even at
Money
experience?
tw-
people, you want
Explain how long you've been
That's
there.
not
even
minimum
at
wage.
$2 per hour, right? In this day and age, that's still a minimum wage. But anyway, that's. But Wayne,
You're
welcome.
getting all
Welcome to-
excited. You know how much it costs to live a single person in the state of Minnesota, and then we can move forward. Economists, and they have them for a reason. You need $105,000 as one single person in the state of Minnesota to live a comfortable, affordable lifestyle. So y'all stop settling, and it's why we need folks to not agree and accept that
No,
these wages are not livable wages. They're
we
not livable
understand that. The
wages.
fact that they are livable, they are not livable wage, we understand that. That's aside from the truth. But what we are saying here, that this wage we are calling here, this is not a minimum wage. The minimum wage in the state is $11 and some cents.
It is not effective
He is
January
calling
1st.
it,
The minimum wage is $15 an hour in the state of Minnesota.
and still it is not. Somebody just told you here now the average person is making $22 an hour.
No, they didn't have any real data to support that.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not
person,
disagreeing. I'm
William
not disagreeing that
William doesn't have a
Report up here is
doesn't
also
have a
agreeing with that.
William doesn't have any data to support this thing. But
But
that's
my
his personal
Montana I'm pulling
opinion.
up here is also agreeing with that.
So even the data that you put up is not supporting the
It's not supporting what you're saying, Miss B.
Yeah.
It is.
So what
It's
say you?
right in front of you. It's in the
Let's
chat.
move on from the CNA. Let's move.
Can we move on? We'll take this in
Let's
a
move on
private
from the
group chat.
CNA. There's a reason.
From here.
I could probably see
No,
there's a
not.
reason why Sam is riled up tonight. You know, but that's
No,
CNA.
I mean
waste.
our
Say
people
Bruce, no
are
one
Let's
be
move on.
acting
okay.
right. Let's move
But
on.
some
Begin.
people these are their work, and I don't want us to step on them, right?
And
It's
let's
not
be
stepping on
Okay,
them
guys.
at all.
Okay,
It's
guys.
not
Let's.
stepping on them.
No. We can't continue to go on. Sam, you unmute if you're talking, but hey, no, we can't continue to drag that one topic. Okay, we can't continue to drag CNA wage and
if,
things like that. So we have to.
if Liberians have found a niche in this country, then
That's
that's
it.
what they found. Just like any other culture, the Asians have theirs, Nigerians, and every other immigrant has theirs. I think the
Yeah.
Liberians, according to the data, they have found the health aid field to be their niche. So
Right.
instead of you coming here and categorizing it as a low minimum wage job, I think there is a better way to classify it, because this is where our people
Where's the better way to
found.
clarify that it's a niche?
And the
And
fact
Maybe
the
apologize to the people for
the
calling that
fact
job
is
minimum wage. Who can move on, please?
the fact here is it's not a minimum wage. All the data that we look up tonight has shown that it's not a minimum wage job.
Absolutely.
You know, and as our people
Okay.
progress in this field, they continue to get paid more. Yes, should they keep equipping and advancing themselves? Yes, of course. But this is the
Okay.
field, and we must respect it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
respected what you have said tonight, Tatus. Much
Okay.
appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. That's fine.
We good?
Patience.
Oh,
You know what? We're gonna move on this
maybe
CNN stuff.
I apologize.
This we gotta come back. We'll get you out the other night. I gotta go out for them.
So here's the thing. Patient. I'll go to you next, right? How has the concept of success, right, evolved among, with African immigrants, right, as they come into this country? The whole concept of success. I mean, like you have my brothers there saying CNA, it's like it's a good career path. But how's the whole issue of success, right, evolved, right, as African immigrants come to this country? Patience.
Like I said, now we have more resources. We come here, we have families who are in these profession fields that encourages us to do better and want to make a better life for ourselves instead of just settling for what they did when they came here because they didn't have a support system. And with that too, the internet, it's a big part in our life these days. You can research what you want to do, find whatever path you want to find, just have your foot in the door. We have somewhat of a support system from family or whoever that brought you into the country.
Okay. Thank you. Wayne, in what ways do you think like younger generation right navigate career path versus the older generations?
What did you say? I just got on. Y'all treat each other up. What's going on?
Are you okay?
What
are
are we
you awake?
talking about first and foremost? I'm not.
Okay.
I'm half
okay.
asleep.
Anyway, well, Winner, welcome to the show. Today
Hi,
is
guys.
January.
Ask a question.
Today is January 7th. Okay. The time is 8:16.
2025.
My man
Yeah,
posted that
2025.
woman. I started feeling some type
It's
of
the
way.
I
new
know
year.
I started depressed, but
It's
it's
the
all right.
new year. And tonight's topic is
Generation.
generational perspectives on work, family, and life, right? And we're discussing the African immigrant experience, right? As African immigrants come here, the whole issue of work, older generations versus younger generation. And when you got on, there was a huge argument going on between Ms. B and Sam and Titus regarding CNA and minimum wage and things like that. So that's the argument you met on, and it was heated. But we have moved on from that. Are you awake now? Winner, are you awake? Okay, Winner is still.
I'm gonna boost my brain and start acting up.
Yeah. Winner Boost Mobile have started. So tonight, 2025 is that started right for internet service for folks here. So anyway, Miss B, in what ways do you think like younger generation right navigate career paths?
I get a little bit passionate about these things because this is the work that I do and I live in data a lot. It's like every time I write a grant, I have to include how much data I'm going to collect on the population that I serve. And so I wish our young people were more educated. I talk about it all the time about other fields of work in various industries, because when I think about getting into an industry, I think about how do you then turn that 9 to 5 into a business? Because at some point we have to have more businesses of color owned by us, bigger businesses that are owned by us that grow and they're strong. And oftentimes you will see is that white companies have started because somebody gained experience working at one job for a length of time and they left to go open their own company. Professional services has a huge gap right now. When you talk about having a gap, the state of Minnesota has 50,000 positions open. That's working for state government. 50,000 positions that need to be filled, where you have a range of, you could have a JD degree to fill some of these positions. You could have an English degree, mass communication degree, right? Journalism degree, and so many different other degrees that have nothing to do with the health field. Information science degree, right? To fill these other entry level out of college with these type of degrees I just mentioned, you're going to be averaging at least $65,000 a year.
So why do you think? Right? So why do you think, right? To Titus' point, or maybe Titus, I'll go to you, right? The data or the statistics Ms. B just mentioned, according to you, Liberians have found a niche in healthcare. Why is it that they just want to stick to that niche and not like maybe diversify their and maybe spread their wings? Let me just say it that way. Why don't they want to spread their wings instead of just finding one corner and just sticking in that corner?
Can I say that? Titus, can I just say something on that?
Go ahead,
okay, go ahead.
from my perspective, I think a lot of the time, you know, we talked about a lot of Africans are easily content, right? I
Mm.
think contentmency is the big issue for our people. We find something that we understand, we can grasp in the nick of a time, so we stay there. I think a lot of the time too, we don't like to be challenged. I think a lot of those jobs will put us in a position where we actually got to like produce certain skills, certain levels to get to certain dimensions. And our people, we don't want to tap into that. So we go where we're very comfortable and we're not doing too much, but we're still doing something, and then we can generate some level of income. I think that's where a lot of our people are more comfortable in that CNN role, the medical field, because like, hey, I understand this, I know this, I'm gonna stick there. Right from CNN, we go to nurse and we stay there. But I think these other roles, like whether it's the government roles or X, Y, and Z, is going to require certain level that needs to be produced as you go up the ladder. And I think our people, because we're so content, we don't want to produce that. That's just my
Titus,
perspective.
Titus, do you agree with that? The original
Hmm.
question was for you, but we not took it and ran with it. But do you agree
I
with
like to have a space after Tatus.
Okay, no problem.
And my
uh,
friend on the vocabulary.
yeah, Titus, do you have a
So,
response to that? Are
so
you
Win made a good point there, but I don't want us to think tonight that Liberians or this generation of Liberians are lazy and just comfortable doing nothing. Finding a
I don't
niche,
think it's I don't think it's about laziness though. You said like they have found a niche in healthcare, but there's so
or
many other opportunities in other areas.
finding a niche
Mm-hmm.
that is supported by so many different ideologies. A lot
Yeah.
of you spoke about the cultural differences that we all have. Back
Mm-hmm.
home, like Ms. B was saying, Liberia, from time to time, graduates lots of nurses. And I do remember one particular institute in Liberia called the TNIMA, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a subdivision of the JFK Hospital. That institution practically graduated a lot of um, health practitioners, nurses, CNAs, and even physician assistants. Because I do remember back then, like years ago, even one of my uncle, he went to that academy and became a physician assistant. Okay, so this thing about Liberians now coming to the U.S., you know, following the older generations that were here and found because of their background, came and saw what other folks were already doing, navigated that path and got into this era. They're providing valuable services that
Mm-hmm.
should not just be looked at as just make content because it's not challenging them or they don't want to expand. Now, in the same token,
Okay.
if you look at the generation now of
Mm-hmm.
Liberians
Mm-hmm.
that have taken this healthcare field,
Mm-hmm.
we are expanding. Liberians are owning group homes, they're owning health facilities. So there has been a level of expansion within this same healthcare
Mm-hmm.
industry. So they're
Mm-hmm.
not
Okay.
being content. They're
Okay.
navigating, they are providing services, they are becoming
Okay.
business owners. And
Okay.
and this is a good thing for our people. The
Okay.
Asians, they find a different field. They are
Okay.
into the nail polishing. Nobody going there and say, oh, because they're washing your feet and giving you a
Okay.
manicure and pedicure that they're just content. That's
Okay.
their error. That's what they found. And
Okay.
so it is for Liberians.
Okay. Sam, you say you want our space.
Yeah, yeah. Specifically to touch on contentment,
Okay.
and for some people, like Tata said, it's not about being
Mm-hmm.
content.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should respect the fact that people sometimes enjoy what they do, right? And these are
A
critical
whole
positions.
majority,
Mind you,
of a
when
population,
we
or of a
when we
segment
when we look,
enjoy a specific niche, even though there are opportunities in other areas.
hey man, if people enjoy it and they have peace doing what they're doing and they're living a life, that's fine. Mind you, there are people who were born in this country and are CNAs. What say you about that?
Mm,
People who were white people born in this country, they're CNAs, right? There are people who also came from other European countries who are here doing the same work. So if everybody backed up from that work, if everybody grew to another level and became doctors Who will be the nurses? Who would then be the CNAs? These are critical work.
No
So
one
if
is saying
people
that.
are,
No one
no,
is
no,
saying there
no,
are not other
Let
immigrants
him
there.
I
finish.
No
don't,
one is saying there are not
Marshall,
other
let him
immigrants
finish.
there.
but what I'm trying to
The
say here, what I'm trying to
majority.
say here, AB, what I'm trying to say here,
Okay.
success for everyone is different. There is not a
Absolutely.
universal definition of success.
Mhm.
And so if a person finds themselves in a place and they're doing well, they're doing great, that's fine. But the way we are approaching it, it sounds as though we are stepping down on
It's
certain positions.
denigrating.
No,
I
we are
agree.
not.
It's
I,
denigrating. No. We gotta be careful now.
can
No,
I
It is.
clear
no,
my
no.
I
side?
totally agree with
Can
you.
I clear my
Okay, Miss
side?
B, go
Because
ahead. Miss B, go ahead. Miss B, go ahead.
my statement, first of all, was never ever, and folks who know me,
Mhm.
was never ever to put down the field of CNA.
Mhm.
That is not the purpose of my statement. My statement is that when we talk about things, I like for us to put it in context and support it with data.
Mhm.
Because I can say for a fact here, my aunt, she is about 67 years old. She'll be retiring from CNA job. She owns 3 properties, has a nice size 401k, a high breathing savings account, right?
Mhm.
She's one of the most successful people that I can think of when it comes to people in my family, and
Okay.
remain in the CNA home health aid field, and will be retiring, I believe, either this year or next year.
Okay.
So it's possible. Success looks differently for everybody, so it's possible. But my thing is, it is a low paying wage job. That's just the reality. It's not paying livable wages. Should people leave it? No, because it's a huge need. There is a huge need. We experienced that during COVID, during the pandemic. It is because of the pandemic we realized the value in our CNAs, and is why now you will see more of them making more than $25 an hour.
Yep.
Because
Mhm.
those people are talking about 15 plus years in this field of work, realizing we lost, unfortunately, some people just died in the health field. We lost a lot of our workers due to people dying from COVID during the pandemic. That's the reality. And because we have a huge gap, we are now recognizing the importance of that field, and we're willing to pay more. But still, livable wages is a serious conversation. I've always talked about it, that we need to have. I don't care if you're pushing the shopping cart at Target or Walmart, you need to
Okay.
make a livable wage.
Okay.
The idea that our country's minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, the whole great US of A, who has a dollar annual budget in the trillions, and we're okay with that, that's wrong. That's criminal. That's fraudulent that you would pay somebody $7.25 an hour to get out of their bed, go out in this cold, and even if it's just to push a shopping cart from in the parking lot into Target, they should make a livable wage. So that's where I'm coming from with my argument, folks. Thank you.
Okay. Patience. What can the older generation, right, teach the younger generation about, resilience and career growth, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, instead of just being stuck one place or finding a niche and just sticking to that and not trying to maybe like, grow, and find other areas.
Just to backtrack a little bit before I answer your question, like with the healthcare field too, as we're speaking,
Mhm.
most of like the younger, the older, let's just say people our age, our parents influenced us to get into the health field, like nursing. Like for me, for an example, I grew up in a home where my aunts are nurses. So when I got out of high school, that was the first thing they were pushing up on me, like go to school and be a nurse. So all of these nurses these days, this is what we saw from home. You're like, okay. And most people are doing it mostly for the money too. So with the whole healthcare thing, a lot of African people, it's not so much of passion. Some people do it because they love it. And some people just do it because the money is there, the double is there, and that's where it's at. But what was your question again? I forgot.
Okay, but if you want to go back home, because anyway, my question was, what can the older generation teach the younger generation about career growth?
Well, I mean, now, at least from the home I'm in or coming from,
Mhm.
my parents always encouraged me to do better. No matter how much money you're making, you can still make more. No matter how much education you have, you can still go to school and advance yourself. I always tell people this: I'm a professional student. I don't care how much degree I have. I'm always in school learning new things, getting certificates and stuff.
So
They have some. Excuse me.
no, go ahead, go ahead. I have another
Yeah.
question for you, but go ahead. Finish your thought.
They have some homes where their parents tell you, do not be content. Don't get comfortable in your profession. Advance yourself. Become better. There is all, even the richest man on earth, he's still looking for ways to become richer than what he is. So always leave room for improvement. And some parents said, some parents are okay with where they're at, so they don't encourage their kids to do so, which is wrong. What's the second question?
So my second question for you, you said your parents want you to do better and all those good things. So why were they pushing you to only like, become a nurse?
I mean, that's what they knew.
Okay.
She was a nurse, her sister is a nurse. That's what they knew. And I had to stand my ground, like, look, I appreciate what you guys do, but that's not my passion. I have passion from something else, and that's the route I went.
Do you think like so Winner, do you think the current generations, right, of Liberians or maybe immigrants or young people, right, are pushing back on, like, because I said there are a lot of Liberians or Africans in healthcare, right? And maybe like if you grew up, seeing your parents in that field, you say, hey, that's where I want to go. But like a younger generation pushing back on that?
I think we're seeing a pushback now because people are driving toward passion of what
Mm-hmm.
rather than the money, the money, the money. I mean, of course, money is, we all need money to survive and pay our bills and meet our needs. But I think passion should also be your driving force beyond what you do. Because when you have a passion for something, it's going to come naturally and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to come with ease as well. You wouldn't struggle times two I feel like to make it. So I think a lot of the newer generation that I'm seeing is that people are pushing for their passion to go in that route rather than because my aunt was, because my mom was, or they want me to be in a medical field, I want to go there. And we're also seeing that too. A lot of people that are in the medical field, they're there for the wrong reasons. And sometimes too, we can see the faults that comes with that as well. So when money is your driving force, there will be a consequence that might come up out of there too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and Sam, I mean, it's like there's the whole idea, like there's that I mean, there's a lot of money in health, or there's money in healthcare, so a lot of African immigrants or Liberians specifically, right, try to go into it. I mean, where did that whole idea or concept come from, right? Is that hey, there's money in healthcare, where in like there are other careers here where you can make double, triple, right, with less stress. But why do folks go into healthcare thinking that there's a lot of money in it?
We can hear you.
You're on mute, sir.
He's
If you
not on
continue
mute.
to tell, I was. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can hear you.
If you continue to tell people that what they're making is what they are making is not livable, right? And then you put a certain pressure on them to go into a field that they feel they can make money. And I don't know, but I think that people now are going for money. They're not going for what you call passion anymore. I
the
don't think
people I
people are
see,
going.
they're going for passion.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
seeing different people. We're seeing two different people,
Yeah.
and I
But
see them a
the
lot.
different people.
Oh.
No, Sam, I
Okay.
disagree with you on
So,
that one.
Sam,
What are you talking about?
Man, leave that man.
the people you are saying are going for the money. Which
I'm
field are they
saying a
going into?
lot of people
Mhm.
going to school for what's going to make them money,
Mhm.
not for what they love. A lot of people now will
I
tell
dating men
you,
and not love the hurting about it.
I'm
but that's the
dead.
same thing. That's a different topic we got to discuss. But we'll leave that one. I
They
made
won't
one
be
topic
settling
tonight.
for what
We
they
are
love
on
for
different topic
pretentious.
tonight. We're not on
I
man,
hear
woman, business
tonight, y'all
topic.
started to over.
Because some of
All
y'all
right,
only
now,
dating for the pockets. But if you will leave that topic,
But
but
what you
as I
gonna
was
date for?
saying,
And you said they're going for money, what can go for the package too? That's the same thing.
you see how Morgan gets shot when we talk about man, woman, believe you.
Exactly.
So
okay.
as I was saying,
I'm not going to take that bit. I'm not going to take that bit. Go ahead.
as I was saying,
Uh,
I see a lot of people who are going to school now because of what that career path will bring them. Tatos, you can agree with me, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of
Absolutely.
people are doing things now for the money.
Yeah,
And
around the old folks then, if that's the case.
yeah, I
who
mean,
is doing it?
It's
Listen,
not the
listen,
young
right?
a lot of
generation.
folks
Listen,
going to. I mean,
you
who are
don't
a lot of
see,
folks going into?
man,
I mean, going to career path for the money. And what career paths? And what
people
careers are they?
calculating. And the reason why people are doing this, right? People are calculating. People are looking up these careers and see how much they're gonna make before they get into it. They're not just going because, oh, I love photography, I'm gonna go to school for photography, enjoy it. No, the demand is there that one has to make money out of this career before you venture into it.
Now the teacher and I get no teacher today.
So
Now because
Liberians are
they
going into
Right
healthcare
now,
because
when
the
you
money
go
is
to
there.
the community, when you go to community colleges now, you won't see people going for sociology, psychology. You see barely will you see that. A lot of young people are going into IT, they're going into engineering, they're going into other jobs that are making 6 figures right off the door.
But
That's what they're going for.
you can do both though. You can still do what you enjoy doing and still make the money out of it. So it's not so much.
I agree. But the primary force there is the fact that they're gonna make a certain figure. They're looking at that
when you
figure.
went
That's
into
how they're
social
making
work, let's go to teacher. When you went into social work, what was your driving force?
Well, I went into other careers before social work.
Okay,
so if you want to
social work, your final degree.
Well, I'll put this on the table, right? When I came to America, right? When I came to America,
we'll ask you one question. We can get our history here.
No, but I have to explain.
No, we want history. Y'all want answer.
No, but for the convenience of the audience, I will explain. It's not about you. If it's about you, you already know me, so I wouldn't explain.
Okay,
I will share this with the audience.
One at a time. Okay, Sam, answer the question. Okay, move on.
So when I came, I had the mindset of wanting to do criminal justice, right? Because at the time, that's what everybody was doing, like, bro, criminal justice, sociology, right? It was a thing. So for me,
it wasn't healthcare.
No, for me, it wasn't, because the people I was around and all that, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't that. But man, listen, back then in Liberia, it was either healthcare, criminal justice, sociology. That's what. Right now, you know the degree that's trending in Liberia? A lot of people going for law. A lot of folks who are even going back to school in Liberia, they're going for laws. In Liberia, certain time things become a trend.
So if those folks come here now, they are going to venture into law and not healthcare?
I wouldn't say
they're
that.
going to
healthcare.
Maybe there's a walk to the airport that they can treat
my sister. Let me just give an example too. My sister, she was a senior student in UMU studying economics and accounting, double majoring. She was a senior student. When she came to the US, guess what she did? Boom. She's now RN.
Same when I answer our question again.
People switch up, right? People switch up for many reasons.
While she was doing economics, in Liberia, and then she came here, she went into healthcare just because the people she made
nurse. That one can tell the people.
No, but guess what? She's happy. She's doing great. She's doing very well financially, and she enjoys it.
Okay.
What you down in nursing, man? The money that they're not easy. That the first thing they answer.
Some nurses with just a bachelor's degree make more money than some other people who got master's degrees.
Okay.
We hear you, brother. Oh, ask you.
You know that happens.
You there? That question ask you.
What carry me where?
With your face cap. What carry you to the play?
My first degree, I did criminal justice and counseling. I double major in criminal justice and counseling, right? Okay. And after I worked for a little bit, I saw another path, and that's where I went into clinical social work. Okay. Am I happy right now? I am happy.
Passion. Baby, hold on. That money or passion, brother?
Both. You know, I'm a person who likes to help people. And there are zillions of opportunities in that area. I just jump ship from this and that. I can do a lot of things that I want to do with that career, and I've continued to do them. I'm happy.
Don't make noise here. Cool down.
But you're in a different area, though, right? You're in a different area. I'm in a different area.
Even though when you with a passion, so we said as a driving
you can enjoy a passion on that side. I'm enjoying my own side, and we're good. We're good. You enjoy your passion on that side.
Yeah, now money carry you there. Stop disturbing your friend with money, baby. Now money carry you there.
No,
you not being doctor.
But when we
get vexed for CSE business, bro.
And when we shut down,
we gotta move on, guys. We're not coming go back and forth between the two.
You continue to ask about the healthcare profession as if it is not the highest paying profession.
Maybe you want to be in the field.
No. We gotta move on, gentlemen. We gotta move on,
It
guys.
is. It
We can't
is.
keep the argument going.
But
You
there's
keep asking the question as if
the
it's not
point
the
we're trying
highest
to
paying
make
field.
is there's
The
other
field with the most
professions.
demand. So obviously it will be the highest paid field. And you
There's other
math, you're
profession that
saying
makes
that
money too,
There are a
Titus.
lot
Instead of
of
us
other
just being
careers
yes,
in this
I
country.
agree.
There are a lot
I
of other
agree.
careers in this
But
country.
you continue to go against, in a sense,
he's not
No,
going
no,
like
go
no,
we're
no,
here
against,
no,
to
in
no,
a
no, no,
sense,
educate
no.
each
go
other.
against
He's
that
not going
field,
against it.
asking questions about the field. You're asking why people are going to it as if it's not a field with a high demand and subsequently will be supported by high
There are
pay.
also other fields with high
But every
demand.
field is a high demand. We need
Yeah.
teachers, we need lawyers, we
There
need all
there
of
are
these things.
levels
So
of
let's not
demand.
just
There
say
are
that
levels.
medical field is
There
the
are
highest
levels.
place.
There are
Okay,
levels of demand.
So if they're
okay.
not paying, they don't pay teachers well. We need teachers to start these career paths for these kids.
I
So
want
what
to
Well,
we talk
you
ask
about
a
just
that?
said
question
you
for
just
one
said
life. So ask that question for
every
later.
field is
See
in
if
high
I already know
demand.
the answer.
When you talk about
I
educators
had a teacher named
compared to
Ifina. You're training, I know how to read.
healthcare professionals, there are different levels. There's a different level
We
of
hear you,
demand.
brother.
And
Go
that's
school.
how all the
Go
CNS
school.
will leave, and y'all will go to the hospital. And y'all have nobody care for y'all. Y'all
Go
be waiting
school
for the
and
Exactly.
RNs.
training.
There will be
That's
that.
Okay,
all right.
okay, okay.
Y'all will be weaping your.
Go
There will be that
school. You're
moment.
training. The teacher then go into the nursing field.
Yeah,
Okay,
we waiting for the
okay.
RNs to come.
Order. Let's get this rolling. We shouldn't go back and forth here. Right? We'll lead the whole healthcare thing. We'll lead the whole CNA thing.
Going
Now
back and forth. What are you talking about?
we have talked about the work aspect, right? This is like a three-part topic, right? We have talked about the work aspect, right? So tonight, guys, the topic is generational perspectives on work, family, and life. Before I move on to the family aspect, I just want to ask one question, and then Tyler, this was to you, right? I know Africa will have this hustling mentality, and most people don't have like regular jobs and things like that. So it's like when they move to like America, you think how does that influence, right? Influence their what, their career choice or their career paths or like
You
maybe
we
their
have what kind of mentality? I didn't get that.
entrepreneurial, right? Like the hustling,
Hmm.
right? It's like we
Hmm.
do, most Africans have, informal businesses. Someone maybe might be selling a little cell phone booth or doing something where they don't have like formal jobs, right? It's like most, you know what I mean? And so when you move this, I mean, when you cross the ocean, how does that influence your career choice or career path?
I think mostly when we come here, the first thing we're
Mhm.
listening to folks who have already been here before us for a
Okay.
sense of guidance. And over the period, one of the errors I think we've also made
Hmm.
is to utilize our network vastly. There are a lot of people in different areas that would provide resources for us, very meaningful resources. That even the skill set that you come here with is transferable in lots in so many cases,
Hmm.
but because we kind of limit ourselves and just we're afraid, we're new, we're paranoid, we just go with maybe one or two family members around. Hey, this is what I was doing when I was here, so follow the same trend. So we have not been, but I think it's getting better. It has been getting better with our generation. We're putting to use now the resources. There's a lot of skills now that have been transferred. We're getting into different networks where we can hone in on our skills from back home, and we can transfer into whatever career path we really want to continue in this country.
Okay. Patience, right? Like moving to the family aspect, right? How do you think like the younger generations, right, treat family, right, in this country versus the older generations, right? Especially like African immigrants. I mean, the family value today, how does that differ between the two, between first generation African immigrants and the current generation, second generation or third generation?
Um, I'll say for the first generation, for those that was in the state, our parents wasn't as present as we are now because they was
Mm,
busy working and providing. They were busy working and providing for us, and still they didn't know much of work-life balance back then.
mm,
Now with all the education and resources that we have, we have learned to balance family and work and actually make time for family. But back then, our parents was working double to make sure that all our needs and stuff are provided, and they were barely home to take care of. We basically most of us raised ourselves. We're
Okay.
self-raised because our parents was busy. But now we're more involved in our kids' life. We're going to school activities and just being present more than our parents was.
Okay. And then in terms of the whole like family roles, right? Winner, like the whole like, I mean, Patience says that back then there's not much of a work-life balance, but now today you have that, right? In terms of, the way we treat family today, how do you think that maybe the older generation could have done maybe like could have done it differently, right? I know that she mentioned the family work-life balance, right? I mean, today it's like there are a lot of immigrants coming here every day, like we are congregating in one place. How do you think that is helping to shape the whole family dynamic? Winner.
I ate three more. Yeah, I put the question. I think what Patience said, is a way to piggyback off it. I think a lot of the older generation, I feel like they could have tapped more into resources that were available to them
Hmm.
to be able to help them in that aspects of things. But then again, a lot of the time, lack of knowledge too made our people perish. Well, not perish in the light of things, but you know what I mean. So I just think them not being able to tap into the resources that was available or knowing the resources that were available to them to use at that time kind of contributed to some of the things of the older generations. And I think that's the difference with the new generation now. They're utilizing those resources, they're using it, they're reaching out, and they're trying to like establish those for their generation, which is their kids and stuff. I
Yeah.
think.
Sam, do you think that when it comes to the issue of culture, right, cultural values and tradition, do you think like the current generation, right, younger generation are holding on to those cultural values and traditions, maybe compared to the older generations? You're on mute, sir.
As it relates to the kind of work they do, or you're just saying in general?
Family, work, family. You know what I mean? Right now, we're trying to focus on the family piece, right? Because it is a three-part topic, right? That's more of a family, right?
Got it,
Folks
got
that
it.
are here today, right? Are they like kind of holding on to the cultures, the traditions versus maybe folks that came here earlier?
Well, no, I think because of the fact that people are assimilating and mixing up with the culture that's here on a broader
Hmm.
scale.
Hmm.
I think we're losing that that culture that our older folks held on to when they came to, like, I mean, from Liberia here, and I mean that's just part of things. But is it? I think there are some benefits of that. If we must talk about that, I think there's some good to that because
What's the good? I mean, what's the good?
well, this is some of the reasons why you see people. These are some of the reasons why you see people are now looking at this country as their own, as a place they can stay, as a place they can form part of,
Mm-hmm.
and gradually you will start seeing people going into other careers because the mindset will change and think that they can find themselves in corporate areas and other businesses and other entities, rather than just following the stream of others, other trailblazers who paved the way before them. And so I think that assimilation piece and the mixing of culture, it has been very important, and it will continue to bring some importance to us.
So do you think like maybe that by holding on to like if you're holding on to your tradition and your culture, you won't be able to maybe like get
Yeah,
those
yeah.
corporate jobs and things like that? I mean, by losing.
Traditionally and
Uh-huh.
culturally, there are some careers in this country that a person, if they even try to go into, people will be like, "Oh, you can't do that. Don't do that. That's not a good. That's not. Back then, if you want to be a lawyer, they'll say that liars can be lawyer. You can't be a lawyer. It's not a good career. As a Christian, you're not supposed to be a lawyer. Yeah, people used to say that.
Okay.
And then some people just don't go in that field. Like other, morticians, because of our culture. If you're a mortician, back then you're a mortician, nobody wanted to associate with you. It seems like a taboo. You're playing with dead bodies and stuff like
Okay.
that. Other careers too. that culturally people would frown upon it.
Okay. Titus, I know this one. I mean, that is something I thought about for you. I think this would be good for you, but don't veer off script too much. But like, African parents versus their kids, right? How can they navigate the issue of like cultural identity, right? Their identity. How can they navigate that? You know what? In the world that we live in today.
I know
That's
what I
funny.
meant. Don't go too much.
Yeah.
You're afraid. You're afraid.
No,
Why
no,
you
I'm
asking
not. I'm not.
whether you're
I'm not.
afraid?
I'm not. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You go ahead. And
I'm done. I'm done with my questions, right? How can like parents, right? Parents in their case navigate the issue of identity, right? Especially the cultural identity.
so the older generation has an idea of who we are, the identity,
Mm-hmm.
and as African,
Mm-hmm.
we have a certain identity that we are firm with. Compared to our children now who are exposed to different ideas, diversity, equity and inclusion, these
Mm-hmm.
ideologies that are pushed down to them, fortunately and unfortunately, in their schools now, their area of learning. So it's a challenge, but their parents have to remain open-minded, to just create that path for communication, understanding, provide understanding for the children compared to back in the days when you know how our parents dealt with things. They were just straightforward and just stern on certain things, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
no opportunity or room for reasoning,
Mm-hmm.
having that discussion and providing reasoning and allowing that child to think and see other ideas, and be convicted of their own reasoning. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what now parents of our generation are getting into. We're discussing more, we're challenging their minds more. We want them to think, we want them to be able to even see those other ideology, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time maintain, our identity as Africans.
Yeah, do you think like maybe the older generation were too rigid versus maybe the current generation of parents, African immigrant parents?
Abs- Certainly they were more
Gentle
rigid.
parenting.
They were more rigid.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't even know when was the last time I put my hands on any of my kids. You know
Okay.
how much working I got when I was little.
What? I'm picking you, yeah.
Yeah. So
So even so
and
even I
anyway,
mean so even the older generations, so Miss B, this you go to so even like back then the older generation, there was spanking case here in America.
Hell yeah.
boy, they would
Mm-hmm.
spank kids,
Uh,
and if for any reason if you call the police
okay.
and the parent told the police what we do, this is what we do, we will say, young man or young woman, don't call me. Your parent is disciplining you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Compared to now, parents are not really, like I said, we're communicating with the children more, right? We're
Okay.
finding other means to challenge our kids, to give them consequences, to negatively and positively reinforce certain behaviors in them than just,
Okay.
whipping on them.
Okay. Okay. Miss B, welcome back to the show. Let me kind of a push ask something a little bit like the whole idea, right? When you come to this country, is like idea like is sold to you like the American dream. How has the American dream, right, evolved for generation of African immigrants? Maybe like from back in maybe the 80s, the 90s, 2000, like up to this day.
The American dream is false.
It's false.
Exactly.
it's it,
How so? How so?
it was all a dream. I used to read up
Okay, biggie
magazines.
daughter.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
That's
whoa.
how much of a dream the American dream really is.
Okay.
I just the other day, we feel like because we see media shows more Black people with money these days. So we feel like, oh my gosh, we have arrived. Things are actually changed. How many Black billionaires does this country have? Real quick. Anybody take a quick guess? How many Black billionaires does just America have?
What does this have to do with
Is it
black
like
and white?
5?
What does this have to do with black and white?
Oh, the American dream is very much Black and white.
Of
Oh,
course.
the
5
American dream is
good
black and
deaths
white.
win. It's a little bit more than 5, but
Oh.
10.
Oh.
10. And our richest black person out of that 10 is only worth 10 billion.
Is
Only
that what-
worth 10 billion. Yes.
So again, what does black and white has to do with the
Let
American
him
So-
dream?
first land, Ibby. Hold on.
Everything. The data that I just gave you, you have 41 million black people in this country.
Okay.
And the idea, only 10 of them are billionaires. Only 10 of them. That's including Jay-Z in your 10.
Okay.
And out of that 10, the richest one only is worth $10 billion.
Okay.
And we know states that operates with bigger budgets than that, right, in this country. So just to put us in context, the year is 2025. The American dream is still a dream, and it's even more so of a dream if you're African immigrant. We are some of the most highly educated people in this country are African immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we're the highly most underemployed, regardless of what field it is.
And why
Regardless
so?
of what field. No, you will have
Why
a PhD
Mhm.
and 17 years plus of experience working in your field, and
Mhm.
you're most likely going to make less than your white counterpart that probably doesn't even have the level of education that you have
Mm-hmm.
or the level of experience. You'll find yourself training them for the promotion that you should be getting. So the American dream is still a dream. But we're just resilient people, honestly, right? Because
We don't push back too.
from a third world country, coming from a third world country, navigating the system here, we can still say a good percentage of us are doing well. I wouldn't say that we have achieved what the so-called American dream, but we're still doing well, right?
Okay.
And that'll show in the fact how many people y'all saw on Facebook posting the fact that they graduated from with their PhD degrees this summer. I love it. How many people did we see holding the sold sign on social media? Because everybody posts now when they buy that house, they post the sold sign. I am loving every bit of that. You know, more of us are prioritizing those things, even more so than our parents that came here in 1989, 1990s. You will see more of us, right, are doing that. But the American dream is still a dream.
Okay.
And just to piggyback on what Ms. B said, what
Mhm.
we need to do is know our worth and go for it. For me, I'm that employee. I have the moment I got my handbook, my job description, I highlighted it, I stick it on the wall. If you give me anything outside of my job description, you're paying me more than what I'm getting paid. And my company know me for that. Don't ask me to do extra if you're not paying me for it. We need to, because we're going to school. We're paying X amount of money to get these degrees. We go and these people shove work on us that is not
Mhm.
within our job description, and we sit there, we take it and just shut up. Then these little boys graduate 19, 20, come over there, get more paid than us, doing less work than we are doing. I'm
Okay.
not going to train you and you're getting paid more than I'm getting paid. That is a problem. And I stay on that neck. I stay on that neck. I make sure I let them know Minnesota got jobs. I can quit today and go get another job tomorrow. You're not
Okay.
wasting my time. I wake up every morning, I'm here. So that's something we need to do. We need to value ourselves. Then these employers are going to value us too. If we settle, if we're content and comfortable within that position and not ask for more,
Okay.
you're
Okay.
not going to give us more.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing generational perspectives on work, family, and life. You know, we have gone on for the last 1 hour, 13 minutes. So maybe we'll go for another few minutes, you know, just to push on little questions and see and hear from our great panelists, you know, great interaction tonight. Thanks for tuning in. You can also call our number 817-600-1525, or you can comment in the chat as you have been doing. But Sam, it's a question for you. Like extended family back home, how are they, like, you know, how's that whole relationship, right, between, like, you know, extended family members back home versus like immigrants that are here? You know what I mean? It's like, how is that family dynamic, you know, playing out? You know, it's like especially African immigrants. You know, we are big on extended family. It is not only our immediate family, but how is that whole dynamic affecting, you know, the way we live our life here, you know, our assimilation, and even if maybe like keeping one foot in and one foot out.
They're making us broker. If
Sam,
that's
you're
what-
on mute. Yeah, on mute. Patient, you can come in later, but Sam,
For many people,
uh,
it has
yeah,
been it has been a hindrance
Mhm.
to their
Big
success
hindrance.
in this country.
okay,
For many people,
yeah,
because like Dagunti mentioned, man, some people have been consistently tied to the idea that they have to continue to support families out there.
okay,
And so they continue to use their resources
uh-huh,
that they could be, doing other things with here to, um, break through some areas for themselves to send back home there to, alleviate some of the poverty that people are dealing with there. And I mean, that connection for some people is not something they can ignore. For some
why
people,
not?
they
Why
will
not?
they will make well because depending on the connection and how they feel about those people and the fact that they are here, they
Mhm,
find and it's different for everybody, right?
okay,
But some of the people I've talked to,
mhm,
they they will do that until the day they die because they
mm,
feel that just being in this country alone is a blessing for them
okay,
and that they are going to remain a blessing to their families out there and they will continue to do whatever they can until they can do it no more. And so they don't care to be billionaires. They don't care to be millionaires. All they want to do is work every day, sustain themselves and their families here, and send whatever little they can over there for those people to eat and breathe as well. And that's how
okay,
some people see life. And
okay,
that's what we'll continue to do. Others will
okay,
argue that it's stupid, but
uh-huh,
hey, people will do what they think is right for them. And
okay,
I will respect that.
okay. Well, we now know, isn't
Can I
that?
ask when?
Yeah,
Can I
okay.
ask when? The way you said that big hindrance, who you supporting like bro when?
I can nobody else besides my mom.
No,
Like
I
that was a
thought
lot.
Okay.
I
But
like
how's
no,
that?
it
But how's,
is.
okay, since you have asked Wayne that, right? How's that kind of and I'll push this to her, right? How's that like impacting folks' ability, right, to really, I would say maybe live, like really kind of live their life in this country? Because sometimes if you are supporting family back there and you have your family here, how's that like impacting your life here? Is like you maintaining, that maybe there is one for in, one for out because every time you take pay, pump, you send it back home, or maybe like a lot of folks, or maybe start doing project back home. How's that really impacting your ability to live your fullest life in this country?
Well, let me just say that maybe somebody can answer that question. I left Liberia so early, so I
Hmm.
really don't. I can't speak heavily on that part. But the reason why I said is a big hindrance, and what
Hmm.
Sam says is accurate because in that connection plays a role too. But a lot of people come here and then they honor that connections, but the people back home also feel obligated as well. So that's where the hindrance comes to play
Mhm.
a role because we
Mhm.
have seen that people will forget themselves here and
Hmm.
support people back home, and only for the backfire or try to invest and nothing come out of that investment, which is that's the hindrance part there. For me, I take care of my mother, my late father. He was in Liberia. I brought him here, and he's deceased. But my mom and I have a very beautiful understanding.
Mm.
Very beautiful. So it doesn't hinder my life in America because she understands I do what I can and I make sure she's good at all times. So we have a very good understanding there. So when I can't do, she's not down my neck.
Yep.
Okay, patience, and then so this one to you, right? In the same token, folks that are building their dreams home back home, right?
Give me one room.
Building their dreams home back home. They say, whether it be in Ghana, Liberia, or wherever, right? They are here, but they are building their dreams home
I
back
told my
home.
good
But then it's
grandpa
like
Sokate.
life is not easy for them.
First of all, I mean to each his own.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be here working 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
sleeping in an apartment, barely sleeping in my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm building a mash. I will go. Bye bye. Then I'm building a mansion
Mm-hmm.
back home. That is
Okay.
ridiculous. What are the chances that God gonna give you long life for you to go back and enjoy that hard work and sweat that you have taken all your paycheck
Mm-hmm.
and invested it back there? And
Mm-hmm.
secondly, how sure are you all this money that you're sending? Because I have heard a story like people send money and they go back home there is nothing there. Nothing. Like, why are you giving yourself that heart attack? You're here. Your kids are here. Instead of you building generational wealth for your kids in the country that they're born in, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with investing in your country, but have your feet on the ground to where you are at, to
But,
where you're building a family, where if
but
something were
Sam,
to happen.
but Sam just talk about the attachment though, right? Some folks kind of that attachment there, and those attachment are telling you, hey, you know, do something here, build a dream home here, or maybe do a business here.
Yeah, my biological mom she's in Liberia, and we had this conversation. She told me, first of all, she came up at me with that. All your friends are coming here to build. I thought I was like, first of all, I don't even know if God gonna give me long life enough for me to come back in Liberia. I'm in America. I'm living in my dream home in America. This is what I wake up and go work 9 to 5. I'm working 9 to 5 to live. I'm keeping my kids comfortable. This is my home for now. If I have it to build a home in Africa, most definitely I would build a home in Africa. I'll invest in my country. But I'm not doing that thing where I'm working, sleeping in an apartment, then have a mansion. Because even if you rent the mansion out in Africa, you're not getting much here to help you with your life in America anyways. Once again, to each his own, before anybody choke me, I personally will not. That is not a smart financial investment at all, and there is no like generational wealth for your kids, because you can't go back home and say you sell that house in Liberia and get $500,000 from it to give it to your kids when you pass away. So it's a poor financial investment, I'll say. Once again, to each his own.
Okay, Titus, do you agree with Patience? Like, I mean, like it's a poor financial investment, it's a poor financial decision. And I'll push you further. Do you think it's a good idea when you are living in this country, you know, to either build a dream house back home or to invest back home in terms of business?
If you're not planning to move to Liberia now, you should. I don't think you should be building any dream home back. But I like when Pigeon said, "Have
Why
your
do you
feet."
think before you do it? Why do you think a lot of folks are doing it? So many folks are doing it. So many Liberians.
I believe it's out of ignorance, and that's not to be condescending. And some folks are building a retirement home. You know, people are on different timelines. And in this America, some people want to go home earlier than others. And some folks probably think they have less years here than you and I. So I think right after building their dream homes, they're going back home. Hopefully, that should be the idea. But if you're not going there, what's the need of doing all that? It's just gonna be for family to get into it, and you're gonna be the one maintaining that home. And as Patient said, as a poor financial decision, it doesn't mean that you cannot share some of your resources here with family back home. That that I would encourage, because, like Sim said earlier, there are folks who you leave your family back home. We all know the conditions that are there, the harsh conditions, and when you're opportune to come in these parts, it's a blessing. It's an opportunity compared to back there. So it's not something that should be discouraged to extend your hand back there.
Okay.
But I also agree when Patience said, have your feet planted here first. You know, have your feet planted, well planted, because that's how you bear fruits.
Okay.
That's how you're able to extend yourself. You can't spread yourself so thin that you destroy yourself.
Okay. Well, folks, with my last question to you guys, and then we'll go to our closing, you know, and then we'll close for the night. Miss B, what role has technology, especially social media, right, played to shape the mindset, like everything between the various generations, the
I
older,
mean,
the younger, the current, the Bujumbura folks, everybody.
I mean, December's.
Wait,
Okay.
what's up, beef with Bolivian folks, man? I'll bring some folks over.
Oh,
The
you missed last week's show. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, the December's had Facebook lit. those that went home in December, and every December, man, they make us to feel jealous. Like
Yes, my sister.
they get on that ground
Mhm.
and they show us the house somebody has built and they're in it,
Mhm.
and it's looking like a house here in America. And then they have the driver, they got to cook, and they're just floating from one spot, nice spot to the next, looking stress free. Their skin is shiny. Of course, all of that is like, why am I here in America? Why am I here in this country struggling? Why am I working so hard? Why am I paying this mortgage?
Okay.
So yeah, social media has a big impact as to why maybe a lot of people go back home now. You got a lot more people investing, building apartments, building Airbnbs, because they want to have December that they have that time they have once a year. They want to have it more often. And so that's what they're investing in, really.
Okay.
They're investing in what technology and social media is showing them.
Then
Sam.
when they come out, they sleep into the job. Then they be working 20 hours.
They clock in the next day as soon as they
Come on, you
land.
working 24 hours. You go
If
and
they
choose
work
your
overnight
ticket, go back.
shift, if they land 3 p.m. by
Just stop
10 p.m.
hating,
they
man.
there.
Just stop hating. Stop hating.
Okay. Well, Sam, what role you think, right? Technology, especially social media, has played, right, to shift the attitude, the mindset of the different generations? Unmute.
Yeah, you boost my boo.
Oh, I always mute. Always mute. Well, no, I was saying, and I'm saying that I think that it reduces the urgency for some people who come here. The fact that they can remain in touch with their people back home consistently through a cheaper means and a quicker means, and also, the virtual space that we have through Facebook, WhatsApp, and all of these other social medias and technologies. It brings your family much closer than compared to 20 years ago when we'll
But
have to
isn't
go down
also
the street.
but isn't also creating this narrative, right, that Miss B said, right, folks? There's all these shiny houses back home, so maybe someone want to make that dream. If you see all these shiny houses on Facebook, and like, be or maybe you too say, man, that man doing that, maybe let me go build my own dream house too. Isn't that creating such a, some of these things? Versus the
Well, I
older
mean,
generation never had that
if
luxury, right? They never had that, so they know how to worry about it.
well, that's a piece she spoke to. I was speaking to
Mhm.
another one I haven't landed, but if you want to
Okay,
come
right,
back to this, I will, and it's
right.
fine. I can leave mine and address hers. But yeah, I, I can agree. I agree with Ms. B. But then like Tata said, man, everybody can be on their own timeline, and sometimes you
Mhm,
have to maintain
mhm,
so that you cannot be distracted.
mhm,
Because that may not even be your cup of tea. It may not be a time that you want to do that kind of investment. And
mhm,
so, if you see such a thing, you should not be carried away. You should only be inspired. At some point to maybe want to do that if that's what you want to do at some point in your life. But for me, I mean, I'm never a follower. Having been, will never be. And so I
okay,
maintain my path and my speed,
okay,
and I do things as I please and thing is right for me at that given time.
okay. Well, folks, we have gone on for 1 hour 30 minutes. Then we'll be closing our titles as we close tonight. On this topic, with the different generations of African immigrants that have come into this country. It's like it's been a great night. It's like a lot of great information from you panelists. What message you want to leave with the folks tonight? As we close out the night, Titus.
So it's been a great discussion. I enjoy myself. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to our folks who are participating in the comment section as well. There's a lot of valuable lessons, intergenerations. Uh, old, the old can learn from the young can learn from the old, and then the middle and in between. As we agree here tonight, the older generation can teach or pass down wisdom of when it relates to the job, how they've been stern on their job, how they've been steady on their jobs, the consistency that they continue to maintain, from that traditional setting in the workplace.
Mhm.
With the younger generation, they know they have the potential. They know that you just heard Ms. B say, I can quit this job today and get another job, right? So that
It
flexibility.
was patient. I said that.
Not
Patient. I said.
not Ms. B, sorry, patience. I can
Mhm.
quit this job today and get another job. That flexibility, that confidence, that ability to adapt to their
Mhm.
environment because they know that they carry the values, right? To
Mhm.
adapt to any environment. So these are very unique characteristics. I
Mhm.
think we can learn from each other. There is
Okay.
a tendency of older generation kind of looking down on the younger generation as they don't want to do this, they're lazy,
Yeah.
they don't want to work hard. It's not going to be the same for every generation. I think we take the values from each generation and mix that up and have a more fulfilling um, time, more fulfilling ethic, and apply that to various sectors of our lives, our careers, the jobs, the family, and what have you. But it's
Okay.
been a really good conversation tonight.
Okay. Patience, as we close on this topic tonight about the generational perspectives on work, family, and life, what message do you want to leave with the audience tonight?
Well, thank you all for watching, and this was a great discussion. What I would say is always leave room for improvement. Don't set
Mhm.
yourself short. And regardless of what career path you're in, how much money you're making, there's always room for you to make more and advance yourself as well. And create time for family. At the end of the day, that's all you have. I mean, family, it's always going to be there. And live within your means too. That's all
Okay.
I can say. Yep.
Okay. So are you saying the younger generation are not living within their means?
They're not. Like
No.
they're not. I will say on the internet, anybody want to choke me, not choke me. They
Okay.
are not.
Why do you think they are not?
Poor financial decisions
That's
because
another
we've seen it.
topic.
That's another topic. If I start talking now, we will not finish from here today.
Okay.
They're not.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Keep
Keep
it
it
Anyway.
moving.
Okay. Anyway, Wina, what message you want to leave our audience tonight? I've been watching us all night discussing this great topic.
I mean, I came late, y'all, so bear with me. But I have to agree with what Titus said prior. He said that the old can learn from the new and the new can learn from the old. I think we missed that. We think we have arrived in this new generation. We don't have nothing else to learn when we have to go back to the roots to pick up some things to take along the way. So I really like that part. So
Okay.
yeah.
Miss B?
No, I'm going to piggyback on the need for intergenerational connections to keep happening. I
Mhm.
think you'll find that similarly too on the African American side as well, right?
Mhm.
You think about movements that happen were due to the intergenerational mix was happening.
Mhm.
And I think it shows the results of those intergenerational conversations that don't continue and that mix that don't continue. You end up with 2024, like Patience was saying, a lot of us living above our means and not making good financial decisions because when our parents days they say if I put 25 cents here, let it produce at least $1 more. We don't have that mindset. We don't think return on investment. And so I'm going to plug right now Wednesdays, tune in, right, where we do talk a lot about that here on the Inner Circle podcast. And so that's the message I want to leave with folks today. Is like, tune into the Inner Circle podcast. There's a lot of good messages that you'll receive. So you don't continue to make these kind of decisions, right? You can have informed and be more knowledgeable before you're making some of these decisions. So catch you guys tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. Sam, director, your closing message to our audience tonight. You unmute if you're speaking.
Well, our young folks, man, continuing to feel part of this brother America. Uh, don't hold too much on to culture, beliefs. try to assimilate, ensure that you're going for a job, not just because of passion, because a lot of people are going for jobs now because of job security, higher pay, was a man, fastest growing careers, highest paying jobs, and all of those things. And I don't see passion unless.
It comes with a price.
Yeah.
So let's continue to go for things we love to do, but we know we got to make money, man. So let's go for that.
If you got
Create
a
a
job
healthy
to get up in the
balance of
morning,
Which
both.
remains
if you got
And
a
with that,
that's what you have.
if you got
for
a
tonight.
Thank you all for
press
the
to
You
time.
go
know,
into
thank
the
you
It's
all
job,
on
that's
for
a
you, man.
tuning
It's
in.
on you,
It's
man.
been a great show. You know, see you tomorrow. As Miss B said, tomorrow
Fashion
traffic
doesn't,
is going to be
fashion
lit.
doesn't pay the bill.
Well, you
Gonna be
Tomorrow
lit.
still do
traffic
your
is
taxes
going to be
and
lit.
the bills.
Tomorrow, like I'm glad you guys talking about bills and things like
Yes,
that.
sir.
People living above their means. We're gonna be talking about new year, new budget. New year, new budget. You know, spend that budget.
My
You know,
budget
things like
this year
that.
belong to Jesus. He's the only
You know,
begun.
financial goal
Oh
setting.
my God.
Financial goal setting. Financial goal
All of
setting.
it belong to God
That's
this
what we're gonna be
year.
discussing
Join us tomorrow.
You know, financial goal
Let's
setting.
save
You
it
know,
for
it's gonna be
tomorrow.
late tomorrow.
Yes.
So we hope you can join us. Same time, 7:30. But thanks, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. It was good. It was a great show. Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
It was lit for me.